Welcome to the Bldng Legacies podcast. I hope everybody's doing well. Welcome back. This is episode 5. Myself, my brother Kyle, my co-host. We want to, just bring our interesting topic today, man. We dealing with hip hop, right? And we're talking about this 50 years. Salute to hip hop, the culture, just the genre.
Salute to hip hop, yeah.
Salute to hip hop. Salute to the BX, to the Bronx. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We cannot, talk about hip hop without talking about the Bronx, man. And just the way it derived the culture of the Bronx, man. But salute to hip hop, man. 50 years. We want to build on the legacy of hip hop, the origins of it, where it is now. Just the business elements of it. So salute, man. Kyle, what's going on, my brother? How you feeling, man?
Oh, man, I'm feeling good as always, out here grinding, man, trying to portray or give the same example of what we speak about every day, whether I'm doing the motivational speaking from my sites or whether we're doing this podcast. Like, I'm just trying to make sure that I present myself or we present ourselves in a way that people can identify that we're not trying to front. We're not trying to, what they say nowadays, capping or whatever, we don't want to, we want to continue to just portray ourselves as two brothers who came, but we came from the Bronx, New York, went through our trials and tribulations, and we here not only to help other people grow, but to show our growth at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So listen, man, I'm from the Bronx. I grew up in the South Bronx, moved to the Northeast Bronx. But I remember being real young, growing up in the Bronx. I lived in a spot called Lambert Projects. I can't never forget it. The God Raheem from the Furious Five, he was there. And like I said, I don't want to misquote. I was young, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I know Sharp Rock, I think, lived there too. A couple of other people. But let me tell you, man, coming up as a kid, I was so enthralled in it, man. We used to be in the hallways, breakdancing and all that, listening to the hip hop artists. But for me, it's been a while, man. So, my sister, she knows a lot and her husband, they know a lot. And my brother, they was older than me. But so I don't want to, sometimes I might embellish some stories. You know what I mean? I don't think it's on purpose. It's just probably part of my recollection. But I do remember, man, going through the buildings. I live in a building called the Red Building, going through the Red Building, going through the Yellow Building, going through the Blue Building. And if anybody hit me and say I'm wrong. Forgive me, but I remember going upstairs, and it used to be the back door, I think, of where Raheem lived. And I used to always be real young, and that back door, they'd be in there rocking, and I'd be hearing the music. That's where I got really the vibe from to try to rap myself later on. I was all right. I was one of them cats that didn't make it, right? But yeah, I was so enthralled by the music that they was making. And a lot of us, we used to always try to, the kids that was my age, whether they was throwing jams in the park or whatever, they didn't really let the kids in, but we would hear the music, we'd be trying to look through the fence or climb the fence and see it. I remember all those days, man. So hip hop, man, is a legacy in it and of itself. It has left an enduring legacy upon this society. It has become, if I'm not wrong, the number one music genre in the world. I mean, from the way we talk, from the way we walk, from everything that we do has been emulated all around the world. You know what I'm saying? So we just wanted to pay our respects, and the year's almost up with, but we wanted to use our platform to pay our respects to hip hop. So, and how it started, who it started from, and just give a little insight on our perspective. So, what you got to say to that?
Yeah, no doubt, man. I just was thinking about just, my introduction to hip hop, man. Just hearing it, coming up in projects, man. Hearing it from almost, a lot of windows. Just being out in the parks, hearing it, the jams. My older brother, obviously, he's like significantly older than me, so he exposed us early on to hip hop, man. I'm talking about UTFO and all that kind of stuff. I grew up hearing that. Roxanne Shante, stuff like that, man. So, and then it was magnetic, just the lyrics, the beat, how it was in sync, all of it, man. It was just a good experience. Now, I think I reflect on that time period. Now, I'm reflecting on just the 80s, right? And just the energy of hip hop, because it was maturing at that particular time. So you started to see just the evolution of it. And I'm glad I'm old enough to have kind of been able to witness some of the evolution of hip hop. You know what I mean? And the just the various aspects of it, right? And yeah, so early on, man, hip hop was a thing for me. And I think, like you said, I think we all tried to rap at one time or another. I never really showcase rapping skills, but I
I
remember I
was
used to,
nice. I was nice, man. Just to let you know, man. I keep telling my man I want all my old recordings, man. I'm ready to sue some people, man, for my
right,
tracks, man, for my word, because it's still floating around out there. People still got it, man. I'm ready to start suing for that, man.
right. Yeah, you got to get to it, man. Get those publishing rights, man. You heard. But yeah, I got a brother that used to rap. Was nice. You know what I mean? Known, in the area, man, for his skills, man. So being around him also, inspired me to try to write a little 16. You know what I mean? I remember just being in the house, man, trying to write. And I think I was pretty good, if you ask me, but I never uh, exposed it to any. No one would even know this about me. It's something I should just try to do, emulating my brother. And yeah, so it always was just that energy and that attraction to hip hop. And just, from an analytical standpoint, man, just watching like I said, the culture and the guys, man, but the way they dressed, the jewelry, the cars, watching the video music box and things of that nature back then. You know what I mean? Watching the guys, man, and just being enthralled, just with the culture in and of itself, man. And yeah, so definitely salute to hip hop, man, because it's been 50 years, and I was listening to some older guys that remember hip hop from its inception, and uh, talking about how the genre of hip hop was shunned initially, right? It wasn't deemed credible, like you know what I
Yeah,
mean. It wasn't getting the airtime from the radio stations. It wasn't getting the exposure on television, the MTVs or whatever was popping back then. So we had to create something about for ourselves, which we had video music box and things like that, where we were able to you know, just the culture in general able to showcase what it was, man. And then now, when you fast forward a bit, you see that hip hop is dominated. It has dominated. Like you can't even sell a product now without some kind of hip hop involved. Like if you could look at
exposure.
right, exactly. You can look at a random Sprite commercial and see you see hip hop music in the back or an artist actually promoting it. You know what I mean? And hip hop, and the energy of it, it was so powerful. It was able to transcend, you know, just the local neighborhood and the boroughs, even the United States. You see it overseas. You got people in China, um, Korea, exposed to hip hop. A lot of them don't know no English, but they know a rap song. You know what I mean? Um, so that just speaks to the ingenuity of our people just as a culture, and it's not just hip hop. Other music genres that we created as well that we don't necessarily get recognition for, but we just a creative people. Then when you think about hip hop, where it was born from, guys, man, just in the neighborhood, you know, thought, you know what, and putting a beat or a rhyme to a beat,
Something, yeah.
right? Something, you know what I'm saying? And early on, speaking on you know, the trials and tribulations that was going on in the communities, and that's what was attractive to me also uh, about hip hop, man. When you see how just the messages, and people just bringing to light things that was going on in our communities. You know what I mean? I might be showing my age a little bit now, but see, that's what I remember back then. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But and just to kind of segue a little bit, because I know you know, we speak on the legacy of hip hop and just the business aspect, right? So you look at hip hop early on, you had a lot of the artists were being compensated the way they should have, and they was so focused more so on the art or the artistry,
Absolutely. and had no idea what it was going to be.
Absolutely. Then you had other corporations or whatever at the time, businesses that had the platforms and the infrastructure to profit from hip hop, where the artists wasn't necessarily receiving the compensation that they should have had. And but then you started to see that artists was beginning to get smart and say, you know what, we're going to start our own labels. You know, we're going to earn, you know, from our creativity. So you started seeing guys, man, starting their own labels, pursuing their masters and understanding publishing, understanding various aspects of the business because it's a music business. So, and you know, like I said, that was great to see when you see guys. I'll use this as an example, like a Master P, for instance. He understood business, the business side of the music. So the deal that he got was like unprecedented for hip hop artists at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And you've seen after that other executives of music labels, it was called, from my understanding, they wanted the Master P deal because they were getting smart. Like, hold on, Master P get 80% of the revenue or more, and the distributors only get 15 or 20%, where it was vice versa at a time. So he was a trendsetter and a trailblazer for that. And I don't think a lot of people appreciate Master P the way they should have. Then you think about even the Jay-Z's. They came to the music business with their own label. You know what I mean? So they came with it with a mindset like, "No, we're not going to be like our the previous generation. We're going to make sure we are in control to a degree, and we have some leverage." You know what I mean? So that in and of itself, for me, was good to see, where we starting to see artists being compensated for their talents. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know what else I like that I'm seeing right now through social media, and the 50 years of hip hop. For some reason, I think that's disputed amongst some, but I don't know who's been there. But anyway, we're gonna go with the 50 years of hip hop, and I'm noticing that it's integral because there was a point in time that a lot of the older rappers, and I don't even mean the older ones going back like Furious Five, Fantastic, all of those, Cold Crush Forever. I'm really talking about like Nas, Jay-Z, all these different artists. Jay-Z's on a different stratosphere, but I'm speaking about, Wu-Tang, all these people, and they weren't getting their flowers, from the up and coming new people. But I think now, from what I've been seeing, that they're now getting their flowers from the new artists, the up and coming artists, because the new artists, they doing their thing. I mean, they got the finances on lock. So, and they learned a lot. So, and now that this 50 years of hip hop is going on, they running into so many older artists, Kool G Rap, Master Ace, all these different people. I mean, if we were to go from the beginning, MC by MC, DJ by DJ, is not enough time on our platform on this podcast to go do it. But I just wanted to say that we know hip hop started in the Bronx, in the South Bronx. We know that. Yeah, I'm from the Bronx, but I was born in Harlem, grew up but that's a whole nother story. I'm not Apple, but right, what I'm saying is, so we know that hip hop, it had its roots in the 70s in the Bronx, in the cities, in the boroughs of the Bronx. Then it spread out with groups of Blacks, Latinos, and Caribbean American youth at block parties and communities, right? We know about DJ Kool Herc, Grand Wizard Theodore, Grandmaster Flash, Africa Bambaataa, and they experiment with the different techniques of, giving parties and including percussion breaks called break beats, or simply the breaks, the turntable techniques of scratching and freestyling, so forth and so on, and we can go on and on and on. But just like we said when we started this podcast, Bldng Legacies can incorporate so many different things, because a lot of the artists that started this music genre are not really, haven't been compensated, So, but their legacy is going to live on. It has lived on and will continue to live on. But they haven't been compensated financially. So some might say, well, it's not a legacy if it's not any rewards from it. is a reward because you etched in stone, you etched your name in the world. And that's a legacy that you left behind, not only for yourself, but for your family. We would all want it to be financial. And now there's artists who are being financially compensated for what they are. They got a long way to go because I believe Cold Crush, all of them, Fantastic Five, all of them, Funky Four plus one more. With so many different crews, they should all be compensated. But I want you to know, you say you're from Patterson. You're from Patterson, right?
No, I'm not from McKinley
Where you from?
Projects. McKinley,
Huh?
McKinley Projects.
McKinley, I'm sorry. Wherever Percy P from, I think I battled him one time back when I was young, or even rapped with him. But I used to go to high school of art and design, and I remember because Kwame went there. Man, there was so many people out there. I remember seeing Salt and Pepper and Kid and Play out there, and there was so many people. Pharaoh Munch, they had a group called Organized Confusion.
I used to like them.
Pharaoh Munch, he went to art and design with so many of them, and I was rapping at that time too, right? But I always tell these stories to try to make myself seem important, like I was dead, But people be like, "Well, you didn't make it." Yeah, I know that, but I was nice at the time. But I never forgot. I always relish in the fact, man, that I didn't really get to experience hip hop from an outside looking in. I mean, I was actually in there. Right. So that feeling is much different. So even though now I'm 54, I might still blurt out a rhyme here and there. I'm running around the house and I'm rapping and it's like I'm being looked at like I'm crazy. Look, you 54, man, cut it out. But listen, hip hop is in our blood, and we just wanted to share that on our platform to show you how. Now, there's a lot of people in hip hop. You mentioned Master P. We know about Puff. We know a lot of them, Cash Money, who transitioned from music into, Rockefeller, Dame, all of them. They transitioned from music into businesses. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we incorporate legacy in hip hop. How they use the music as a platform, as a springboard to go into different music. Right. To go into different business endeavors, and that ties into our platform because we want to discuss business and how it interacts with legacy. Right or wrong?
Right, and specifically the guys you just named. When you think about their individual backgrounds, they come out of the streets, right? So. It's no mystery to see that these guys came into the music industry with a certain mindset, a mindset of ownership. They came in with a certain hustle that a lot of others necessarily didn't have because you look at those that was able to kind of break barriers and transcend to that next level. Look at their history. Right, you get individually as far as coming from the streets. They might have dibbled and dabbled. They was hustlers and things like that. But they awakened and said, you know what? We could take this same hustle, drive, intelligence, organizational skills, all of that. That's necessary in any form of business. You know what I mean? These is transferable skill sets. That's why you see that they were able to have success the way they've done it in hip hop. You look at the 50 Cent, you look at the Master P, Baby, Jay-Z, look at their background and where they come from. You understand? So it's like, but they just understood, okay, we're going to approach music, or this industry from a business, because it's a music business. Right. So you have to understand the business aspect of it, to prevent you from getting robbed necessarily or other people continuing to get the lion's share of the revenue off of your talents. Right. So I definitely commend those guys, man. And even you look at now, you're seeing guys, man, that evolved from hip hop, but hip hop is definitely the foundation. But you're seeing guys, they got transitioning into podcasts and having extreme success there. You know what I mean? We know the few guys. You know what I mean? But it's like we
fashion,
fashion, everything, man. They used as hip hop is the foundation, and they definitely evolved. Man, we hear about the For instance, we got Mace, we got Cameron, they got their show, you know what I mean? And definitely salute to them, you know what I mean? They come out of Harlem. And
Yeah,
that's right.
absolutely. That's reinventing yourself right there. Like you are who you are already,
Right,
and people know you. But to wake up one morning and create something new out of thin air and
right,
just put your all behind it, and that's what gave me the ability to say, listen, I want to join you on this endeavor because you never know where it can go. A
right,
lot of podcasts fail, some succeed. We don't want to be in the failure category. We want to be in the success category. But to see them reinvent themselves like that
right.
and get to where they are in such a short period of time, man, that's inspiring, B.
Absolutely. Very commendable, man. I definitely salute those guys, man. You know what I mean? Because they took a chance. They betted on themselves, um, used their notoriety uh, and their legacies to take it to a whole other field. You know what I mean? So that's definitely commendable because some people get stuck in a box, right? They don't see themselves doing anything else. That's why you see a lot of these guys, they X amount, but they still rapping like they might be 40 plus years old. They're still rapping like they're in their 20s because I feel like they kind of still stuck. But then you got some guys say, you know what? We can still rap because I think that putting an age limit on hip hop is wrong, right? Because you don't see.
Absolutely, I agree with that. And I just saw that, not to cut you off, I just saw that. I think I saw Styles P talking to somebody and they said that's kind of messed up when
Right,
it comes to hip hop. Maybe like you 40, you 50, you still rapping, but we don't say that about any other music genre. We don't.
right,
Nothing applies to nobody else, but only when it comes to us. Everything seems to have to apply.
right,
Not I don't want to get in that on that space and in that box, but listen, because my man I grew up with, I used to rap with him. His name is Terror Van Poo. He's still doing his music. I mean, and his producers Vinny Idol. They still doing music together. And
right.
at first, when I came home, I couldn't fathom the fact of a brother that was my age that was still rapping. I was in the same mindset, like, damn, dog, we used to do this back in the early 80s. You know what I mean? And it's like, damn, that's what you're still doing. I've been going for almost 25 years. But then I had to see, I can't knock anybody's hustle. I can't knock anybody's dream. I can't knock anybody's um, desire to want to, create their own legacy. And that's what I begin to look at it. When I stepped back, I said, man, this brother putting out an album. Every time I turn around, he putting out an album. You can stream it on all music platforms, Terror Van Poo. And it's like, yeah, this my man. That's why I said him. And I'm promoting Terror Van Poo. But you can listen to his music and he does it out of the love. He does it out of creativity and he's still nice. But in the same token, it's a legacy that he's building for his kids and for his family behind, because when you own your material, when you own anything, you have the right to say what happens to it, who can use it, when they can use it. So even God forbid if he passed or when he do pass, he left something for his family, which is a legacy that they can utilize his catalog to make money down the line. So I stopped really looking at it as just more of entertainment and more of somebody chasing their dream. I mean, quite simply, this podcast is leaving a legacy behind. If we are successful in the podcast, this is something that's going to still be here long after we're gone. Like we are creating a digital footprint. You feel what I'm saying? With everything that we put up as a digital footprint, and it's going to stay in the system. It never goes away. It's like virtual real estate. It's real estate throughout the internet. So I got off the bag of, I could see a man on the street with a Frank card, and I'm going to say, I wish that was me. I wish I could stand out here with the card and pump Franks. You hear me? Like how? So I stopped judging what I see, because if I look on the internet and somebody is clowning, man, they doing what they got to do to try to eat themselves. They doing what they got to do to try to create a foundation for themselves. And whatever you use to get there, I'm with you 100%. So it don't matter how old you are to me, you can rap. So if you nice, you nice. You know what I mean? Me, I'm a bum.
Right. Yeah, absolutely, man. If you think about it, it's an art form, right? So it's like, now we also know that generally younger guys, it's like a young man's game, the new fresh artist type thing that's having the most like success, it seems like. But it's in art. So when you look at guys still like we look at the Nas. Nas just dropped an album. You see these guys still, and they still nice. I still support them because like I said, it's an actual art. So I think if we look at it from that perspective, we won't judge it so much like, these is just rappers. This is an art, like a painter. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, do we say to a painter, stop painting once you get 30? You know what I'm saying? Nah. You know what I mean? But I am an advocate of growth. So if I do see an artist that's been, rapping 20 years, I would like to see growth. Now, that don't necessarily mean that you got to stop rapping, but I would like to see the content of the rap evolve as well. Because sometimes that's typically like my issue without getting too far into that. You see older guys, you've been rapping about the same thing for 20 years. You've had other experiences, and hopefully you grew in some consciousness where now the content that you're putting out is a reflection of your current state of mind and space that you're in. But that's
Okay.
like my only critique of like the older guys rapping. But I think that, like I said, it's an art. Continue, and if it's providing for you, you know what I'm saying, like for your family, you definitely can't knock a man's hustle. So, salute definitely to all the artists, man. Like I said again,
Absolutely. And
yeah,
and upload your music. Upload your music to all these accounts that you can upload your music. Amazon, Audible. You can upload your music to all the different music places. You can open up free accounts and you get a percentage of what's sold. We know right now there's a discussion to be like, man, you got to sell. So you got to get so much downloads or streams just to make $1, but still get your digital footprint. Put it out there. I tell a friend of mine right now, create your music and find every platform that it is you can upload your music. Upload your music on every platform, your YouTube music. You can go to all these different Spotify. You can go to, I think it's got one, Boom Bap. There's so many different places that you can upload your music. And don't be discouraged because all it is, it takes that one.
right,
Like I'm doing the motivational video. So sometimes one video can get so many views. I think I'm there. I'm like, okay, I'm there. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to upload another one. I'm going to keep going. But then all of a sudden, the views ain't there, right? And I'm saying to myself, today is only, hold up. Am I doing something wrong? Then I pivot. I'll try to change. I think, man, we can't try to figure out what our success is or where we need to be from one thing, experiencing one thing. You think you got it. You never rest. You got to keep going, keep uploading. We got to keep making our podcast. We're going to get better with the podcast with time. We're going to be able to reveal more information with time. This little structure that we've created for ourselves, me and you are both getting comfortable with speaking together on camera and doing this. So from the feedback I'm getting with people telling me we're looking more comfortable. You feel what I'm saying? So I just want to keep it 100% real and do everything it is that we got to do. But yeah, I used to ask somebody. I used to say, man, if I get to 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, if I get to a certain amount of money, I don't know why these people keep working so hard. Why they keep rapping, doing shows, why they doing what they doing. Then I'm starting to realize that, listen, man, you're only as good as the last thing that you do. I don't care if you sold out the show over here. You got to keep going to the next one and sell out. There is no rest. And I'm realizing that, man, in order for you to make it, man, there is no rest. You sleep. When you finish, you get tired, you get those couple of hours. But listen, there's no rest, man. It's really no rest. You don't always see the residuals, but you got to keep going.
right, and like it's just to touch on what you were saying, like it's no rest, and then you see guys like once you get to a certain level, you have to grind to get to that level. Then you got to grind to stay there, like
Uh,
because it's like, man, you get these guys, they become millionaires, they create lifestyles that has to be maintained, right? Or if not now, because and we've seen it, you see with athletes, you've seen it with rappers, you see them reach a certain level of success monetarily, right? And then they, using the athlete for example, they get an injury or they retire or something, or just lose their contract, and we see that they file a bankruptcy, they're losing everything. You know what I mean? So just as hard as you grind to get to a space, don't get comfortable once you get there, right? And then, because, you know, like I just mentioned, you start to see guys, as you increasing in income, your expenses are increasing right along with it. You know what I mean? So you have to continue to make money. You know what I mean? Because I see a lot of guys, too, they doing shows, 100 miles an hour. But I understand why they have to do that. They got investments as well. But you see them still on their tours and grind because you got to maintain that lifestyle.
You got to pay half that damn near, you know,
Right.
and it's like, so you got to figure out how you can keep as much as you possibly can. But, you know, you grind and you forgot and you can't forget you on a different tax bracket. You got to pay that. So, since I've been home, the more and more I'm home, I'm realizing and understanding a lot of things greatly, you know, trying to have different revenue streams. So, like I said, man, I just want our followers and our listeners to know that this platform, we standing on the shoulders of a lot of financial podcasts that came before us. Right? We don't want to emulate nobody. We don't want to disparage nobody. We don't want to do anything but to thank people for educating us, giving us the strength to speak our voices and create our own podcast as well. So we stand on the shoulders of all those financial shows that came before us and hope to meet them one day so that we can give our perspective and get their perspective as well. So, man, I know you wanted to just come on here and touch on the legacy of hip hop, man. I think that we did. We touched on it. It's impossible to name every MC and every DJ and every breakdancer one by one, where they've been, what songs they have. It's just going to be virtually impossible, man. We'll be here forever. Hip hop is the newest genre, man. It's one of the greatest genres, man, that's out there. I remember when MC Hammer was doing a commercial, forgot what he was doing, and they was calling him a sellout and all that back then. Nowadays, right? Nowadays, everybody was saying it, right? Because that's ignorance, right? That's a lack of information.
Right.
Nowadays, as a performer, as a rapper, as an MC, as anybody, as a content creator, anybody, you can't survive without that. You can't survive without promoting a product or even creating a product or being associated with a product in order to get those residuals. So you see how times has changed, man. And I believe it's going to change anymore. I believe it's going to change much more, rather, excuse me. And I enjoyed this episode, I enjoyed this episode with you, man. Bldng Legacies podcast. Like, subscribe, and share. Comment. Let us know what you want to see. Let us know what you're not seeing so we can get better with time and provide you with the good information. Yeah. So as always, I come with love.
Yes, sir. I come with love. Salute to everybody tuning in. Audience, you know, viewers, you know, so salute again to hip hop, man. You gotta love. That's our culture. It comes from us. It's in our veins. You know what I mean? It's the culture, man. So, you know, salute to everybody. Hope you had, you know, a good time with us, man, this evening, man. You know, just saluting, man. So shout out to everybody.
Peace.
Peace.